What is game script in fantasy football, and how does it change? Imagine you're watching a game unfold and trying to guess how your players will score points based on how the game is going. That's what game script is all about in fantasy football. It's the idea of predicting how a real football game will play out, especially who will be leading, by how much, and how that affects the way teams play. This prediction helps fantasy managers decide who to start or sit each week. When a team is expected to be ahead comfortably, they usually run the ball more to control the clock and protect their lead. This is called a positive game script. It benefits running backs because they get more carries and goal line chances, which means more fantasy points for them. On the other hand, if a team is expected to be behind, they tend to pass more often to catch up. This is a negative game script. It boosts the chances for quarterbacks and wide receivers to rack up yards and touchdowns, increasing their fantasy value. Sometimes the game is expected to be close, which is called a neutral game script. In this situation, teams might balance running and passing, making it harder to predict which players will score more points. But here's the catch. Game script isn't set in stone. As the game progresses, the score can change quickly. A team that starts with a lead might fall behind, forcing them to switch from a run-heavy approach to passing more often. Or the opposite can happen. For fantasy managers, understanding how game script works helps in making better lineup decisions. If you know a team is likely to be leading, you might start their running backs because they'll get more carries. If a team is expected to trail, you might prefer their quarterbacks or wide receivers who will be throwing or catching passes more often. Also, if the game flow shifts unexpectedly, it can change how players are used, which impacts their fantasy points. In season, keeping an eye on the predicted game script can help you decide whether to start or sit certain players. For example, if a game looks like it will be a blowout, you might bench a star running back who is unlikely to get many touches in the second half. Or if a game is expected to be close and high-scoring, you might want to start your top wide receiver. So, understanding game script means you're not just guessing blindly. You're making smarter choices based on how the game is likely to unfold, which can give you an edge in your weekly lineup decisions. It's all about reading the flow of the game and adjusting your strategy to maximize your players' scoring chances.